So let's continue with clock problems. With clock problems, we are just basically answering questions about um, basically the relationship between the hands or the dials. So just for starters, so we have our hand. The hour hand is usually the shorter one. Then we have the minute hand, which is the longer one. Okay, so since the clock is basically a circle, if you go around it, it will be a total of 360 degrees. So each the clock is divided by the whole 12 hours. So each hour gap from 12 to 1, it's 30 degrees and so on. It's just 360 divided by 12. So I get 30. Okay? And the three most common questions that you get in clock problems is when you have the hands of the clock together, okay? So given an interval, what say what time would it be, would the minute and hour hands be together or will be at the same place? Two, time when the hands of the clock are perpendicular to each other, where they when say perpendicular, they are 90 degrees from each other. Or 15 minutes, 15 dial minutes away, basically. If you think about 15 minutes, it's from 12 to 3. And this is 15 minutes now when the minute hand moves. That's 15 minutes. And also the time when the hands of the clock form a straight line. Because let's say at some point in 1 hour, they can coincide with each other. Pwedeng parehas sila ng pwesto or they can be forming a straight line pointing towards different directions. Okay? So to better understand this, it's better if we answer some examples. So for your first example, find the angle between the hour hand and minute hand of a clock when the time is 4:20 p.m. So when the clock is at 4:20, your minute hand is here and your hour hand is approximately here. Okay? Approximately. So we are being asked for that angle inside. Let's call it angle theta. Okay? So for us to be able to understand how the clock works, just to basically go over the basics. So let's start with the hour hand. So the hour hand basically goes through the whole clock for 12 hours and then it goes for 360 degrees. Okay? So in 1 hour, so the hour hand just travels 30 degrees. So that's let's do it step by step. 360 degrees divided by 12 hours, so that's 30 degrees. So when in the hour hand, um when 1 hour passes by, the hour hand travels 30 degrees in the clock, basically. Okay? So in general, if we take a look at the time, 4 hours and 20 minutes. Okay? So 4 hours, 20 minutes. So that's a total of, if we just write it in terms of hours, so that will be 4 hours, 4 and, because in every 60 minutes there's 1 hour, so it's 20 over 60, 4 and 20 over 60 hours. Or when you simplify, that is 4 and 2 over 6, 1 over 3, 1/3 hour. Or when we write it as an improper fraction, that gives you uh, 4 times 3, 12 times plus 1, 13 over 3 hours. Okay? So we can multiply this number of hours with 30. Okay? So 13 hours times 30 degrees. So it traveled for a total of um, by 3 times 10, 130 degrees. Okay. So why did we do this? So we took the time in reference to uh, 12. Let's say 12 noon. Okay. So from 12 noon to 4:20, it traveled, the hour hand traveled 130 degrees. Okay. We'll get into the minute hand. Okay. So that's for the hour hand. For the minute hand, so the minute hand travels 360 degrees in 60 minutes. So basically, in 1 minute, it travels 360 over 60, which is just simply 6 degrees per 1 minute. Okay? But the the minute hand, 'di ba, nagsisimula siya kapag 4 o'clock nasa 12 siya. Okay, ang maganda kasi kung ire-reference din natin dito. This is a reference point. Okay? So kanina yung 4 from 12 noon to 4:20 PM para makita natin paano gumalaw yung hour hand. Yung minute hand naman, nagsimula siya sa 12 at 4 PM. So 20 minutes ang ating reference. So in 20 minutes, we can multiply the 6 degrees. So that gives us 120 degrees. So technically, our let's change the colors of the hands. So our minute hand, and then let's take the red as our hour hand. So basically, the hour hand has traveled 130 degrees, while the minute hand has traveled 120 degrees. To get their angle in between, you can just simply get the difference. No? So, to get the angle between two hands, we get the difference of the two traced angles. We call this the traced angles coming from the reference point. So, to get the angle, it will be 130 minus 120. So, the angle between the two hands would be 10 degrees. This will be our final answer. I have example number 2. At what time in minutes between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, both the needles or hands will coincide with each other. Okay? So, starting from 6, so let's place the clock here just so we can visualize. So we have a photo of a clock here. So between 6 o'clock, so let's draw the starting 6 o'clock. So this is 6 o'clock. So basically it will travel and then it will end up with this is 7. So basically your hour hand just traveled 30 degrees, this is just 1 hour, but your minute hand has traveled 360 degrees. Okay? But at some point in the middle, these two hands, the minute and the hour hand, will be at the same position. Kasi, kasi nga, gagalaw to papunta dito, no? So, how are we going to solve for the time? Okay? So, basically, you just let x, okay? You just let x be the number of minutes to reach coincidence. Okay, or the time that they will be at the same position, the minute and the hour hand. Okay, so basically for the hour hand, so starting from uh, 6, this is a reference point. You select a reference point. So from the reference point, it will take X number of minutes. Okay, let's um, take that X number of minutes. So but uh, it moves at a sorry, it moves the hour hand. Let's just write it down. Okay, the hour hand, okay, basically moves at 30 degrees per 1 hour, or to be 30 degrees per 60 minutes. Okay, so if we simplify this, this will be um, 1 degree per 2 minutes. Okay, and then for the minute hand, okay, I don't think you'll need a reference. Let's just remove the reference first. Muna natin. Then for the minute hand, this will travel that X number of minutes, but then again, it travels at 6 degrees per minute. So this will just be 6 degrees times X for the minute hand. And then for the hour hand, it's 0.5x. Alright, but this 0.5x to be of the same. Let's use this as our reference instead. Okay, because the minute hand will start at 12, but the thing is, the hour hand only starts at here at 6. So it has a ang tawag din, para siyang may partida. Okay? So to solve for the angle that it will move, aside from the 0.5x, we will be adding 180 for the angle. Kasi doon nagsimula sa 60 with respect to the reference. So, parehas siya ng reference with the minute hand na nanggaling sa 12. Okay? Pero in any case, no, sabi natin, ang reference natin, itong 6, magiging ang hour hand ay 0.5x pa rin. Pero ang minute hand, magiging 6x minus 180 kasi magsisimula pa siya sa 12. Okay? So, any of the two will do. We can try to solve that later just to check. Okay? So, with this, dahil gusto nga natin malaman at what time they will be equal, we can equate both expressions and place it in an equation. We can put 0.5x plus 180 and equate that with 6x. Combining like terms, we can subtract 0.5x on both sides. You'll get 180 is equal to 5.5x. Divide both sides by 5.5. You'll get x is equal to 180 over 5.5, or just to para magkaroon lang ng denominator na whole number, we can put in 360 over 11. Okay? Or approximately, that's 32.727 minutes. Okay? Meaning, okay, ang ibig sabihin nun, at after 32 minutes, 32.727 minutes, they will coincide. Basically, anong time yun? So, this is basically our answer. But just to satisfy the other one, if you equate this other two, you should end up with the same answer. You can try that on your scratch paper. Our next example reads, between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, what time will the hands of the clock be perpendicular to each other for the first time? So if we imagine your clock, let's just copy the image again. So at 2 o'clock, it looks like this, 2 hour, and then the first time that it will be perpendicular, this will be around here. Well, this is just only an approximation, but most likely, definitely around this time. Just most likely before 2:30 p.m. 2:30, 2 o'clock and 30. Okay. So, how do we go about solving this? Okay. So, first, you need to since you have visualized it, so we need them to be perpendicular at 90 degrees. Basically, 90 degrees ahead si minute hand. Minute hand is 90 degrees ahead of the hour hand. Okay, so that is their difference. Okay, so because the question asks us for the first time, that will definitely be the first time, no? When the minute hand is 90 degrees ahead of the hour hand. So to solve for that number of minutes, so basically the hour hand with the same reference will travel, the minute hand will travel 6 degrees times x. So x is the number of minutes. Sorry, we get let x number of minutes to reach 90 degrees between the hands. Okay? So 6 degrees x for the minute's hand, and then for the hour hand, okay, basically it will just move a little in between 2 and 3 because it's between 2 and 3 o'clock. Ibig sabihin, from the reference, nakapag-start na siya ng 30, 60. So may head start siya na or partida na 60. So it will be 60 degrees plus as you all know, what do you call this? Yung hour hand, nagmo-move siya ng 1 degree per 2 minutes or 0.5. So you just multiply that by x. So yeah. So that is basically it. Para makuha natin, so basically yung 6x, dahil ahead siya dun sa hour hand, eto. So, para makuha natin tong 90, kailangan i-subtract natin tong angle na to sa angle nung magiging hour hand. So, it will be 6x minus the angle of the hour hand, 60 degrees plus 0.5x, and that should be equal to 90 degrees. Okay? So, we just combine like terms or simplify the equation, solve for the equation. So 6x minus 0.5x will be 5.5x minus 60. So we add 60 on both sides. You get 5.5x equal to 150 degrees divided by 5.5. So x is 150 over 5.5 minutes or 300 over 11 minutes. So 300 over 11 minutes is pretty much that's how many minutes? 300 divided by 11, that's approximately 27.273 minutes. So it would be 27 and 3 over 11 minutes. So the time will be at 2:27 and 164 seconds. The hands will be perpendicular. This will be your answer. Okay. So, for the next example, between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock, at what time will the hands of the clock be in a straight line? For the first time. Okay? So, first you visualize what the position of the hands would look like. So, at 4 o'clock, it looks like this. Oops. And then at 5 o'clock, so basically, the hour hand, the minute hand will travel for 360 degrees, and then the minute hand will just travel by 30 degrees. So at some point in the middle, before the minute hand goes to back to 12 and turn to 5, so they will be forming a straight line around there. This is just an approximate. Okay? So we have an idea when we get our answer later. Okay? So again, we will use 12 as a reference. So basically, we start with the minute hand 6 degrees times x. We let x as a number of minutes to reach 180 degrees between the hands. Okay? For the minute hand, it's 6 degrees x, and then for the hour hand, basically, if it moves around here, by the way, it moves at 1 degree per 2 minutes, or 0.5x. But also, we add the head start or yung partida, no? Kasi, uh, based on the reference, the hour hand will only start at 4. So, it skipped a total of 4 hours. So, 4 times 30, 120. So, we add 120 here. Okay? So, to get the angle between the minute and hour hand, kailangan natin kunin yung difference. So, ng minute hand minus the hour hand. And the difference should be 180. Okay? And I think that is, it says for the first time, I think it's the only time between 4 and 5 that it will form ng straight line. So, let's get to solve. 6x minus 0.5x minus 120 is equal to 180. So, we add 120 on both sides. So, this will be 300, and then here, it will be 5.5x. So, your x would be 300 over 5.5 or 600 over 11. Okay? Approximately. Okay? So, 600 over 11 is 54.545 minutes. Or that is 54 and 6 over 11 minutes. So, the question is, at what time? So, therefore, okay, getting the exact time, it would be at 4. Therefore, at 4:54 and 327, 32.7 seconds, 73 seconds, the hands will be forming a straight line. That will be our answer.